You are listening to the Conquering Everest podcast, episode 11. That's right. You are tuned into the Conquering Everest podcast. My name is Brian Talor. Thank you. Thank you for spending a little bit of your day here with me. Actually, here with us, because I've had the pleasure of interviewing two amazing women who I feel epitomize what Conquering Everest is all about. Liz, the Heathen Helton, and her wife, Lillie, the Princess Helton, are kickboxers who have competed not only here in the U.S., but internationally as well. But it hasn't been an easy road. They've had to overcome obstacles and struggles to find success, but regardless to whatever life threw their way, they refused to quit. They kept pushing, they kept their eyes on the prize. So, fighting out of the Wolves Den Training Center in O'Fallon, Missouri, here is my interview with Lillie, the Princess Helton, and Liz, the Heathen Helton. Enjoy. Liz and Lillie Helton, welcome to the Conquering Everest podcast.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm excited because it's been a long time since I've talked to you guys. I've known you for a little while and I've followed you on social media, but with the move out of state, it's been a little, I don't see you as much in person. I'm looking forward to hearing about your lives and what you've done and how you've become successful in what you do and what you hope to do in the future. If you guys wouldn't mind, why don't we get started with just some introductions to the listeners that may not be familiar with you?
Sure. So my name is Liz Helton. I live in St. Louis, Missouri. I guess a little bit about me. I am a competitive kickboxer, as well as I was professionally, I'm a social worker, and I run a program for homeless youth. I live on the border of Illinois and Missouri, so I run a program on the Illinois side of the border. Yeah. Anything else you want to know about me?
We'll get into some more of that here.
Okay.
Lillie, what about you?
My name is Lillie Helton. I'm Liz's wife. So I also live in Missouri. I kickbox as well. I'm not a social worker, but I do work. I work at a law firm, actually, where you're from, at Bloomington, Illinois. I work remote, though. So I've been with the company for 6 years now, and we moved here about almost 3 years ago, I think. Yeah, 3 years ago we moved to St. Louis, so I've been working remote for Wilbur ever since. I work with insurance claims and subrogation.
And so I know when you guys had announced you're moving, I mean, a move is a big deal, right? I moved to Georgia for a short period of time, and it was kind of scary. It's something new. It was, you don't know what's on the other side of that move. What prompted you guys to move, and how did that go for you? Was it all you expected? What did you run into some issues or anything like that with the move?
So we were both in Bloomington, and we both had jobs in Bloomington. I was finishing school, or had just finished school, in Bloomington, and we were training under Billy Stamp out of the combat club, and we were getting a lot of fights, and we had to travel a lot. And one of the places we traveled to often was St. Louis. We fought there a lot. We met some really great people there, and we would cross train in St. Louis. Like, we would try once a month. It was about a 3-hour drive, but we met a lot of people, and the trip became more and more frequent. So the need for, I guess, the next step in our kickboxing career, we knew that we were going to have to move somewhere, so we were seeking out places, but the move kind of came naturally as far as, how to advance our kickboxing careers. And I could easily move and work remote with my position. But Liz works as a social worker, and that was a bit of a leap that we had to take for her career.
Yeah, so I mean, while we were in Bloomington and looking for ways to kind of advance our careers as kickboxers, I had also been with a company out in Bloomington I ran a substance abuse program, and I had been working there for about 15 years at the time, and really just got to a place in my career where I was feeling like, I've done this. I can, I've been doing this for so long. I just kind of feel like, I guess I was just kind of run down, a little burnt out, but I knew I wanted to be a social worker, but I just felt like it was time to explore other things, other ways that I could help. And so the job opportunity came up out here as well. So it just seemed like everything fell into place, and the move happened real naturally.
Let's talk a little bit about, before we get into the the fighter side of you guys. You mentioned, Liz, that you're a social worker. What got you into that line of business?
Yeah, so I actually got into being a social worker on accident. And so, a lot of people that know me know I grew up in kind of what's called the Chicagoland area. I grew up in Joliet, Illinois, and I grew up in a rough area. I grew up in an environment of poverty. I had a lot of domestic violence in my home as a kid. It was just a lot, and I really was one of those kids that's kind of turned to the streets. And later on in life, like fast forward myself living in Bloomington, as an adult, I had gotten into, criminal trouble as a youth and all kinds of things. And I got to a place in my life where I was like, okay, I'm going to do better now. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to change my life around. And so, I started like cleaning houses for a living and going to school, which was a real slow process because I had pretty much dropped out of school in the eighth grade. So I'm in junior college. I'm like 19 and I'm cleaning houses for a living. And something had happened and I wasn't able to continue cleaning houses as much as I needed to be able to pay my bills. So this like part-time third shift job popped up at this treatment facility, substance abuse treatment facility. And even in school, I mean, at this point, I'm a business major. And I mean, I say that loosely because I'm like real early in my junior college career. So at this point, you could be anything. But my dreams was like, oh yeah, I'm going to get a degree in business and like run a business or something. I don't know. And so I took this third shift job just to make some extra money. Gosh, it was like minimum wage working overnight. I was able to like do my homework and stuff. And but while I was there, I started, kids get up in the middle of the night and they want to talk and they want to chat. And, they were adolescents, they were in residential substance abuse treatment. And I just found that I liked talking to them and I felt like I knew who they were because they were me, when I was a kid. And so it started to become something that I was drawn to, that I felt like I could relate to them. I felt like I just naturally had information about my life and moving forward and my own kind of regrets and bad decisions that I was able to share. And then it became, a matter of, maybe this is what I need to be doing. And so then I switched my degree, my major over to social work. And that's kind of the start of my career.
Yeah, that's awesome because we really need more people out there, like doing social work or doing counseling with the kids, especially today. I see, I'm trying to start a coaching business as well, not necessarily around youth, but I know as being a father, kids, especially in the teen years, they start to struggle a little bit. They try to figure out who they are, figure out their identity, and if they don't have somebody they can trust to bounce that off of them, and say, "Hey, this is how I'm feeling. Should I be feeling this way?" They, they could certainly go down the wrong path. Let me ask you. So we'll kind of segue. So you two are married.
Yes.
What, as we talk about figuring it out, who am I? how has that been for you guys? I mean, as far as when did you know that you were attracted to women or whatnot? Because I know there's still a lot, like, even though we're 2021, there's still a lot of prejudice out there.
For me, I mean, all throughout when I was a child, I saw women attractive. Um, Ironically, my dad and I don't speak anymore because of this topic, but I came out to my dad first, I think at like 13, and I didn't really know what it was. I just knew that I liked girls. I thought they were pretty, and I told my dad, and he was like, "Oh, it's okay. No worries. Like, you're just going through some things." Kind of just brushed it off as like not a big deal. Um, so I was like, okay, like I'm still normal, and it wasn't really a big shock to him. And I don't think I really ever told my mom. I just kind of brought home a girlfriend, and thankfully it was normal. I my coming out or experience with finding out that I liked women was was good. My parents were, I would say, I thought supportive, but it was definitely accepted as normal. It wasn't a big deal when I came out, as far as in our house, in our four walls. Um, Now, when I got married and was public to the people of like our community that I was gay, that was a big bit of a different story. My family is very religious, so uh, to have a daughter out in public and married in the community, that was not accepted. Um, Sorry, touchy subject for me.
I could hear the emotion in your voice, and you could just say, hey, we'll talk about this another time
No,
if
you're
it's
fine. You're fine.
uncomfortable. Okay.
Yeah,
I just know there's got to be so many uh, young adults or teenagers that I can hear the emotion in your voice, and you're what, 26 years old now, right? So
yeah.
um yeah, when you say touchy subject, that's I know, I feel like there's so many out there that want to come out or want to live a certain life, and they can't. So I definitely appreciate you sharing that.
Definitely.
Uh, let's segue a little bit. We'll transition off of that, but I do want to know, how did you guys meet?
Boxing.
Yeah, we just met at the gym. I'm not sure. I know you were at the gym with us, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure how early you were at the gym with us. Because when there was a time in like my first year that I was training under Billy. That he had me and another lady, Tiffany, running a women's. It was called like Women's Warriors class, and like it was a women's fitness class on Sundays, and Lily actually happened to come to that class, so that's,
Okay.
that's how we met.
Yeah, I joined. I started training under Billy when we were in the old junior high basement.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. No,
so
so we would have met. This was when he was in that kind of on the east side of
Or Dairy Queen.
Bloomington. Yeah, it was like by Dairy Queen. It was like just a little tiny place. It
yeah.
was right before we moved to the junior high. Yeah.
So, kind of to me, I always found that this is a perception of mine that I, when I first started training. So, obviously everybody out there kind of boxing, and Lily, I believe you were in school because you would sit over on the mats and do your homework,
Yeah.
and then you'd get up and you'd box a little. But it was like, me personally, there's a lot of times I thought, it's like, well, I wonder why she's here. She does her homework, she kind of gets into it, and then all of a sudden there was a change, and you became dead set on becoming a better fighter, and then pretty soon you're fighting and you're winning belts, and it's like, holy shit, what happened? Like, what was the switch? Was it just that you were in school so you didn't have time, or what flipped in your
No,
mind?
it was Billy, man. He believed in me, and I had been training for like a year, and it was I never intended to fight. I just joined because I had always done sports or something in high school, and I was in college, and I didn't play anything in college, so I wanted to do something, to stay fit. And I had been training for like a year, and I sparred a couple times, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to fight for real?" And I was like, "What? Are you serious?" He was like, "Yeah, do you want to fight?" And I was like, "Hell yes, I want to fight. That's so cool." I didn't even think that I was, like you said, I was just the girl that did homework on the side and kind of got into it. But and I'm also totally girly for the viewers that can't see. Look me up on social media. They call me the princess. I'm totally girly girl, so I'm definitely not what you would think a fighter would look like. So Billy just asked me if I could fight, and he believed in me, and I was like, I believe in myself. And it was just him believing in me that I could do something, and then me realizing, oh shit, I really can do it if I believe in myself, and it just took off from there.
And Liz, I know we had a few conversations early on because I was new to the gym and trying to figure out. Now, when I joined the gym, I was, 40 years old, and I was looking to get in shape and, do something different. And I remember you telling me like, hey, just keep pushing, because I was there too. There wasn't too far of a time where my health was in decline. I was overweight. Tell us a little bit about that. Like,
Yeah.
what was it?
So, it all kind of piles in together. So I guess, I tell the story about, I started my career at Chestnut and all these things happened. Well, when I say I dropped out of school in eighth grade, I really did. And so, and I really did come from poverty. And so when I decided, okay, I'm going to get my life together, that was not an easy task. And so then you have to think about the next 6 years of my life were like basically me working two jobs, going to school full time, and then whatever internships that they threw at me that I had to get done. And also, just to be honest, when you drop out of school at 18, you're just not very smart. Like, and there's a lot of things that I couldn't, I didn't know. And I'm like, repeating classes. And it was a hard 6 years. I mean, taking naps in parking lots in between jobs, and all of that to say, like, I essentially was living off of like McDonald's and energy drinks just to get through my life.
Oh,
And and so I, over the course of 6 years, went from being a kind of small person to I stepped on a scale at about 200 pounds. And well, what had happened is I graduated with my master's degree, and I started I started to have panic attacks just out of nowhere. I didn't know why, and they were starting in my chest, and I kept ending up at the hospital. I was telling them I'm having a heart attack, and they're like, "Oh, no, it's just anxiety." But eventually, I did end up getting a referral to a cardiologist and had some tests run and a heart monitor attached, and basically I had caused myself to have a heart arrhythmia. And I mean, through the course of having to wear a monitor for 5 days, they also realized that, like, when these things were happening, it was causing pain, which is what was triggering these panic attacks. um, and I don't know all the details of what it was, but I do know that well, not my last appointment, but like I go into the cardiologist, and I just remember she was this funny woman, and and she's like, you're young, and the only thing I can tell you right now is your options are one or the other. You can get put on what's called a beta blocker, which will help slow your heart down and help you regulate your heart rate. But once we start, that's what you'll be on for the rest of your life. Or you can make a decision to commit yourself to being healthier, and you can get off the energy drinks, and you can lose some weight and start eating better. And um, and there's a high likelihood that your body will start to function the way it's supposed to again, because there's nothing wrong with you that you didn't cause yourself. Basically what she was saying, your lifestyle and the things that you consume and the weight that you've put on is what's caused your health issues. And And so, I made a decision at that point. And not only was I living off of McDonald's and energy drinks, I was smoking cigarettes. Um, I just wasn't healthy. And so that my decision was I was gonna quit smoking and I was gonna get healthy, and that's what I did. And so for like a year, I was like, trying to go to Gold's Gym, and I'm like running on treadmills and doing ellipticals and doing group fitness classes, and I did start to lose, a little bit of weight. I did quit smoking, um, but I really wasn't enjoying myself. I just was like, I mean, is this the life? This is what I have to do now? Like, I have to live at a gym and eat, boiled chicken and broccoli. Like, I can't live like this, and I don't really know what happened, but I just know that one day, I was like, I'm going to try a boxing class. And that's how it all started.
When your doctor told you, listen, your health, your failing health, you did this. Was that like a shot to the gut for you, or did you kind of you knew, or did you just accept full responsibility?
Yeah, it was, and gosh, I mean, I think that I still remember this day, like buying a scale and stepping on the scale and realizing I was almost 200 pounds and being like, whoa, I don't even know what happened, and when I was in the doctor's office and she was telling me these things, it was just a rush of realization. I just remember being like, oh my gosh, she's right. Like, I'm just destroying my body, and I have traded in, one unhealthy lifestyle, from before for this other healthy lifestyle, all in the name of changing my life, and now here I am, how do I want to live?
Right.
And having to make a choice.
So, Lily, you've had your own health concerns as well, and I believe yours came to light after you had already established yourself as a fighter, and then yeah, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about what you experienced.
Yeah, so I was probably, well, I was coming up, and it was after we moved to St. Louis. We had been here for probably almost a year. I was taking some title fights, and I was moving up, you know, fighting Class A girls, and I started to. The first thing that happened was I started to lose weight, and then we kind of just chalk that up to like losing weight to like moving out here and being more active because we were training more. We were, hiking the intensity up. I'm fighting harder fighters. Another thing that was kind of a red flag was I would get really sick before my fights. Um, I would throw up. I would shake. And we chalk that up to nerves. I had fight nerves. So move on. We're here for a year, and I'm getting sick before fights, and I'm losing weight.
You're good.
So we are. My nerves are getting bad, and we looked into like fight psychology. So I started to get into fight psychology and really like hone in on like meditation and like I'm trying to fix this. So that was the first doctor I went to. He told me that I told him I was throwing up before fights, I was losing weight, and he said, this is your fight nerves. Like you gotta get your fight nerves under control. So I dug into that. And then I had another title fight, and nothing changed. I still threw up before my fight. I still got sick. Um, so we went to a second doctor, and they told me that I had IBS, which is like irritable bowel syndrome. And unfortunately, IBS is basically like we don't know what's wrong with you, but something upsets your stomach. Um, so after two doctors, then we really got down cleaning our diet, like figuring out, what's what and what my stomach doesn't like, food allergies. And I had a huge title fight. So we thought we had it under control. My diet was perfect. I had done gone through all this mental training and read all these books. And I weighed in. I was very small, so I didn't cut weight very much. Weighed in and went to go eat, and instantly got sick. And I was so frustrated because I did everything right. So it was a 5 round fight. I fought the first round. I was okay. The second round, couldn't fucking move. Couldn't move. Sorry. Um,
Okay.
I couldn't move. My feet were heavy. I kind of felt dehydrated. Rounds 3 and 4, it was really bad. I was getting 8 counted, and my coach actually threw in the towel. And I gave up fighting at that point. I was like, I'm done. I've been to 2 doctors. Obviously, if I can't, overcome my mental struggles at an amateur, title fight, how the heck am I going to do that if I want to be in the UFC, or if I want to, be on Invicta? Like, there's no way I can continue this. It's just not for me. So Liz convinced me to go to one more doctor, and thank the Lord Jesus, this guy knew what he was doing. He ran all of the tests on me and found out that I am allergic to gluten, and I have celiac disease. Gluten is in everything, believe it or not. It's basically like a protein in wheat, and because everything is just like so processed in America, like everything basically has wheat in it because everything is processed on like the same lines. So even though I was eating like super healthy, whole foods and everything, I was so sick, and I was basically for about 2 years starving. It Celiac disease makes it to where your body can't absorb nutrients. So I was losing weight because I was starving, and I was getting sick because I was putting poison in my body, and it was very, very, very hard to just be sick and not know what the heck was wrong.
So you had to change your diet, different way of eating. Um,
Yes.
how did that work for you, Liz? Because I imagine you've probably had to give up some food as well, right?
Oh, well, so here's the thing. I mean, when she says she's basically starving for a year, she says she lost weight. I don't know that she's painting an accurate picture. She withered away to nothing. We
Oh.
couldn't get weight on her for the life of us. She was sick all the time, and it wasn't just fighting, it was all the time. So when she says, oh, she convinced me to go to another doctor, it just wasn't an option. Whether she fought or not, like, we have to figure out what's going on. Like, at this point, I'm worried that my wife is dying. Like, I've never seen anybody this sick. And when they told me what was wrong with her, they explained to me that her lower intestine was just completely damaged, and that gluten it gets in the air, it gets in the crevices of your pans, it's in your dishes, it's everywhere, and that she's so damaged that having that in our home will make her sick, basically. Like, I could buy a loaf of bread and pull bread out and toast it in the toaster and eat my bread and clean everything up, but that stuff is probably in the air and it's probably still going to get her sick. Like, it was literally explained to me that serious. So for me, it wasn't even a choice. Our house became gluten free. I don't eat gluten products. I don't eat gluten food. We got rid of all of our pots and pans and dishes. We got everything new. We got rid of anything that toasters, anything that had bread or gluten like products in it. Got rid of it all. And we just became a gluten free household. And for me, when we talk about it's funny, earlier you said, oh, when you start fighting and all of a sudden you're winning belts. It's, Lillie really fell into something that I felt was natural for her. And watching her as her wife compete was one of my favorite things to do after I got through the fear of thinking, like worrying about it. Then I realized, like, she is good. She's something special. And when she steps in the cage or she steps in the ring, you can see she's something special. And then watching that slip from her fingers as she got sick and not knowing why, when they told us how we could make it better, it wasn't even a question. We can be gluten free for the rest of our life if it means that my wife can do the things that she loves to do. So that's just how we live. We don't get to eat out really because restaurants around here just don't really have the protocols in place to be able to feed her and not get her sick. So we have to cook everything. It's a lot of sacrifice, but it's, every time I see her step in the cage, in the ring, and compete and not be sick and to feel good, it's worth it. So
Have Liz, it's through the change, right? So, have you taken benefit? Have you seen a benefit in your health, even though you
well,
could eat gluten?
I'll say that I don't think that not eating gluten is necessarily a benefit. But what has happened is because we have to worry about gluten, we have to have an awareness of everything that goes in our body. And through that process, we have really come to not want processed food. I mean,
Yes.
at this point, we eat organic. We've cut out red meat, and just, I don't know. It's just like, eh, I remember being in school. I had a counselor or a professor once tell me, like, you can't unlearn what you learn, right? And I remember thinking it was so stupid, but it's just so right. And like, as you start to really dig into like having to look at ingredients and read what's in food and start to understand like processed food and things like that, you just become like, oh my gosh, like, what am I eating? And so just through the process of that, we have gotten to a place where we know where everything comes from that goes in our body, and that has caused me to be probably the healthiest version of myself. Like I said, we're whole foods, completely organic. We don't eat red meat. We're actually in the process of increasing our plant intake and decreasing our overall meat consumption. And really just putting a focus on eating to perform, eating to fuel, versus eating to enjoy life. And we also have a nutritionist and a weight cut specialist that has really contributed to that as well. So.
Very cool. So let's transition the conversation a little bit. You guys have had all these obstacles that you've had to overcome. Just life, health. You've successfully kept your eyes on the prize, and then um, let's talk a little bit about Bosnia. I mean, you've been fighting locally. You were making your rounds in the circuit, and the next thing I know, on social media, I see you guys are heading over to Bosnia to compete.
Yeah,
Uh, how was that?
that was amazing.
Did you? That was part of what is the you're fighting under? Is it Waco or?
Yeah, so WACO is a world organization of kickboxing. Um, they we had to make the national team. They take a team over each year. Is a team selected, and they kickboxing is huge outside of America. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's so small in America. You think it's big, but it's actually so small. It's crazy. But we were selected to be, was it 2019?
Yes, 2019.
2019, we were selected to be on the team, and they took a team of 24 people over to Bosnia to compete in the World Championship. And how many countries were there?
35.
There was 35 countries there. It was absolutely awesome.
Wow. So you guys went over there and you won all your fights and you walked away champion, right?
I wish.
What
There's a
did
lot of
you?
competition out there. I did win. I won one, lost one. I actually beat Bosnia. My first draw was Bosnia. And I remember my coach, Ryan Blackerby, he's one of the team coaches on Team USA. He said, all right, we're going to go out there. And he said, they're going to be loud. They're going to boo you. You're going to hear them. We're small. He's like, just go out there and do you. Just focus on the fight. And I heard Bosnia the whole time. But it was awesome. It was really cool to win my first fight out there in the tournament. It was an amazing experience.
And Liz, did you fight while you were out there as well?
Yeah, I did. So my bracket had had all these, man, there's like 20 girls in my bracket, and somehow I got randomly selected to fight Turkey. I fought the number one girl in the world.
She won the tournament.
She won the tournament, but she also won. She had won two other world tournaments prior to that. So she was ranked number one in the world. I will say it was a really humbling experience. I went out there. At this point, I had transitioned from boxing to kickboxing and had been undefeated in kickboxing since my transition. I think I was like 7-0 at that point. And I, I was quite confident. I looked at the girl from Turkey and I was like, oh, I got this. I didn't have any nerves. I went out there and that girl hit me one time. And if you have an opportunity to watch that fight, you will see that I stepped back after she hit me, and my whole life changed. She gave me 3 8 counts and TKO'd me in the second round, and it was it was a humbling experience, but it was an awesome experience because it really opened my eyes to all the levels in the world of kickboxing, and really forced me to make a decision, like, who do you want to be as a fighter? Do you want to be out here fighting regional shows and kind of walking through your competition at that point, up to that point, or do you want to kind of try and step up to these next levels and start looking for the hardest opponents, start challenging yourself? And so that's what I did. I came home and I decided, what, I got to get better. I can't compete with Turkey, unless I get better. And it's been a rough year since, it's been rough since coming back from Bosnia. I've lost 2 other times. I've taken 2 more losses since then. But I'm growing, I'm challenging myself. And I'm trying to fight the best out there right now. And my hope is to do well in this upcoming tournament and to get out of the country and try it all over again. So,
out of curiosity, how did that conversation come up for you two?
For to go to Bosnia?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we got letters in the mail that they said we're inviting you to to represent and to compete in Bosnia under Waco, and I got them in my email. I got both our letters in my email, and we actually didn't think it was possible because
it was so much money.
Us making the team,
that too.
In order to make the team, you have to compete in the Waco National Tournament and then place gold or silver. And about 2 weeks out from the national tournament that year, we got into a car accident. A car came off the exit and went across 3 lanes and smashed into us, causing our car to spin across the highway. And our airbags went off. My car was totaled. And our coach basically said, you can't compete. Like, it doesn't feel like anything's wrong, but we don't know that you're okay. Like, your airbags went off. We don't know if you have concussions. Like, it's not safe. You can't compete. And so we had to pull out of that tournament. But Waco said that, they had been following us on social media. They knew that we had won multiple fights that year, that we were hard workers, and they wanted to give us a shot. And so they sent us our letters in my email. And
we had also attended that they have seminars throughout the year,
training camps. Like, we had gone to a couple training camps as well. So they knew who we were, and
we've seen the fight.
So yeah, I just remember getting the email, and Lillie was in the kitchen, and I just came running in there. I was like, "What?" And we were really excited. And then we were like, "Oh my gosh, how are we going to come up with this money?" And so months and months of fundraising got us there.
Raising, selling T-shirts, and doing privates for very little amount of money, just trying to raise any and every dollar that we can, and we did it. We really did. Thank you to all of our fans and friends and family. They all pulled out all of their dollars and really came through, and we had a huge fundraising event, and we did seminars, and man, we got to Bosnia from all of our friends, because really everyone just came together and supported us, and we didn't have to come out of our own pockets at all for the trip. We fundraised the whole trip.
That's great. So it sounds like, you guys didn't know Bosnia was, they contacted you. You're like, whoa, you're just focusing on your everyday training, getting better, being the best fighter that you could be. And I think that just goes to show, as long as a person is dedicated and determined, good things are going to happen,
Oh,
even things you
definitely.
don't expect.
Yeah. And that's what he said. Like the president was, let us know, like, it sucks that we couldn't come, but we see you working hard, and we know that you're dedicated, and we see that you deserve this. So here.
You guys went to Bosnia. You got to experience competition on a worldwide scale. You realized that you still had work to do, right? Because you didn't win the tournament. You came back, and now you guys are going to compete in February in Nashville for an opportunity to once again go to the worldwide stage in Russia, right?
Yeah. So exciting. I
What
feel like once we saw, like, what else was out there, like, we wanted to be good fighters, but once we saw, like, the next level, it's just like a whole nother level of motivation.
Let's talk a little bit about the discipline that goes into this. You guys are up early. This is, and I see this on social media. You guys are up early. You converted an area of your home into a gym, and I mean, what? Okay, so I'm 46 and overweight, and I struggle to get up in the morning. I don't have that discipline. How do you guys find the discipline to just do what you got to do to be the best physical versions of yourselves?
Because we know that that's what the people that we're competing against are doing. So
Yeah.
it's not even a question. We just do it. It's just every morning we wake up at 5:15 and we start our day. And you know,
Hmm.
5 mornings a week, Monday through Friday, we get up at 5:15 and we get our morning workout in. And there's just no questions. Like, you have to be the best, you have to train at that level, and that's what they're doing. That's what we have to do. So
So take us through what is a day in the life of Lily and Liz?
yeah, so we get up at 5:15. We always have a cup of coffee, and then we eat what we call breakfast number one. So it's
Hmm.
usually just a small, like maybe some carbs or something, some oats, something like that. And then, depending on what day it is, we either go and get our cardio in, which is running and sprints, or twice a week we do like lifting, conditioning, strength and conditioning in the morning. That workout is usually anywhere between 60 and 90 minutes. Then we finish up, we come inside, we take care of our dogs, we shower, we make breakfast number two, which is more of a full breakfast. And then we both work remote, so we go to our separate areas of the house and we go to work. Um, then we have lunch together every day, and then go back to work. We get off work usually around 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, we get dinner going. We get we change into our gym clothes. We get everything packed up and ready to go. We eat dinner, and then by 5 o'clock, we're out the door and heading to the gym, which is about a half hour away. And there, we usually are training for anywhere between 2 and 3 hours every night of the week. We usually get home around 9 o'clock at night. We shower, let the dogs out, get into bed, turn on the TV, and usually fall asleep with the TV on.
So you guys have a full day. It's there's no I mean, it sounds like you've scheduled your day. You know
Yeah.
exactly what you got to do.
Yes. We have an off day Saturday, which is nice. It's a full day off. We used to take, like, Thursday night off, but we switched it to Saturday kind of pretty recently, actually, and it's really nice to have a day that we don't work or work out. And then Sunday is a spar day, so we just do like an hour of sparring, and then we have the rest of the day to kind of catch up and do house things. So Saturday and Sunday is much more relaxed and allows us to. That's our downtime, is the weekend.
So thinking back to when I joined the combat club here in Bloomington, and I think about I wanted to get active. I wanted to lose some weight. But as I got more serious into, hey, I like this. I could see myself even at my age. I could see myself
Yeah,
possibly
hell
fighting an amateur fight. One of the things that I learned, one of the lessons I took away is having the right people in your corner.
yeah. Oh, definitely.
Let's talk a little about you train with the Wolves Den, right?
Yeah.
What let's give them some love. Tell us about that gym and what makes them what makes you go and show up every day.
yeah. So I mean, the Wolves Den is a incredible competitive atmosphere. You know, and they're still like Bloomington Combat Club in that there are fighters and non-fighters there, and it's a welcoming gym for everybody. But there's a pretty large group of small guy fighters, which are fighters that fight 145 and under, and full day of classes every day of the week. And just the competition is heavy, so we're grinding next to our teammates every day. And in terms of having the right people in your corner, our head coach is JP Mattis.
Whoop whoop. Shout out to
Um,
him.
J there's just not a JP is like is very, we always call him our mini Billy. And he really is, like, we call him our mini Billy because he's smaller than Billy physically, but he's kind of got the same kind of hard guy attitude, but he loves you. um and he shows up. I mean, he's
Every
there with
day.
us 6 days a week, holding pads, game planning, just trying to improve our game in every way he can. When he's not there with us, I mean, he's sending us things on Instagram like, watch this, look at this, see how she's doing this, and his investment in us means that we have to invest in ourselves too, because if he's willing to do it, then we have to do it.
And for the listeners that might not be very familiar with the fight community and how fights work, amateur fighters do not get paid. So we're not getting paid, which means our coach isn't getting paid. He has his own full-time job. He works 40 hours, probably more than 40 hours a week. He does all types of construction stuff, and he has a life too. He has a girlfriend, but he's at the gym every day, and I wish we had $1 million to give him because he's worth it.
One day you might.
One day we'll be on a yacht, JP.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just say, that, having a fight, a fight family for me when I was going to the combat club, that was, a highlight of my day, being around
Yeah,
like-minded people of all skill levels. It
yeah,
didn't matter. Some were very experienced, some were new. And then what I really enjoyed is as I got more comfortable with boxing, I was able to then coach others and share, what I had learned. And yeah, you don't get paid. You do it for the love of improving yourself and improving others.
yeah.
Now, there's always, anytime success starts to come a person's way, there's always a little bit of, I think, toxicity. There's people that you might have to let go of in your life. Have you guys experienced that in your journey? Was there people that you had to just walk away from that might not have been easy to walk away from?
um, yeah, I mean,
And you don't have to give any names or anything, but
yeah, I mean, there have definitely been times where we had to make decisions for ourselves about who we wanted to be and who we wanted to have in our lives, and and that hasn't always been easy. But y- this fight world is an interesting world, and there's a lot of different personalities, and ultimately, we have a goal. Um, we have our main goals in competition to, Lillie wants to compete in the world games. We want to compete internationally. We want to raise ourselves to the highest levels. But then, it seems kind of weird, but Billy used to say to us all the time, like, it's all about the people you meet. It's all about the people in your life. And
yeah,
Billy, he used to always have his little cliche things that he'd say, but um, I felt like that him saying that has really just driven us this entire time. And any time that we have been in a situation where we felt like someone was bringing negativity to our life, where someone was, and it didn't even have to be about us, but just in general, bringing that sense of negativity, talking bad about other people a lot, anything that was really, taking away the focus of
or being negative themselves about themselves.
yeah, I mean, just taking away the focus of our goals, and just not, like, we just want to be good people that invest our time and feel invested in by other good people. And if we don't see that, then we have to make decisions not to have you in our life. We just have to. We don't. Our time is so limited. Our goals are so big, and we really want to take whatever time we have available and make sure that we're giving that to the right people.
Well said.
Yeah, that was excellent. So, and I completely agree with that because I've had to do that as well. There's a lot of doubters, but I digress. The what's next? What's next for the princess?
For me, so obviously we have the Waco and Russia. I need that to happen and be a part of my path because uh, my big goal right now is World Games, and that's in 2022. So it's not that long away. And initially, I thought how I get the spot on World Games was to be a part of Waco and do well and be selected for the spot, for the 115 spot. So I thought, as long as I do well on the national level and work hard, that spot's mine. I'm already on the team from past years. It's mine. I was very wrong. I have to win, win tournaments, place first to get the spot in World Games for Team USA. So my focus is Waco, and my goal because of the focus of Waco is World Games 2022. And I believe that after I win World Games, my path will kind of be laid out for me. I do want to do MMA, so I think that once I accomplish the World Games, that will be there for me. I also work on my jiu-jitsu and wrestling under my head coach Mop. Andrew Ebers out of the Wolves Den. I just got my blue belt, so I'm working on my jiu-jitsu as well. Focused on World Games, and then I'm taking on the MMA world.
How about the Heathen? What's next for the Heathen?
Yeah, so I am 37 years old, so I am starting to think about what do I want to accomplish, and then what is the next stage of my kind of career. Um, and so for me, I know that I really want to take maybe the next 2 to 3 years and just push myself to the highest level that I can get. And I want to compete internationally. I want to um, I want to know that I didn't see a limit for myself, that I just pushed as far as I could. But in the background, I'm still also preparing for the next stages, which will probably be more along the lines of coaching. So I did just I've spent the last year working on my personal training certification, which I got last month. I got licensed as a personal trainer. I'm working on my nutrition certification right now. I do a lot of private sessions. And so that's kind of a part of my life that I'm preparing for this, for the next stage. That, when I'm done competing and I've done what I can there, then I can start kind of passing all that on to the next generation of fighters.
So we're approaching an hour, and I know that's what I asked, and you guys granted me, and I appreciate that. As we have about 5 minutes, I want to just give this
Hey,
5 minutes to you. Promote. Is there
Brian.
anything you want to promote? Anybody you want to shout out? It's all you.
Yeah, I would definitely invite you guys to follow us on social media. We like to engage with people online. Liz mentioned, we want positive people in our lives. I love to communicate with people on social media, and I often post, like, I keep updates all the time. So if you guys want to be friends on social media, or if you just need some motivation, or if you want to give me some motivation, you should definitely follow us. My Instagram is Lillie, Lillie, period, the princess. So Lillie, period, the princess. Um, Liz's Instagram.
Is Liz Liz _ the Heathen.
How about do you guys have you guys set up any sort of GoFundMe or anything? I know this February, if you get through Nashville, you're headed to Russia, so I imagine that's going to be a little
Yeah.
pricey.
Well, we haven't actually set up a GoFundMe at this point. We have done that in the past, and that's cool. And if we make it to Russia, we may set up another one, and then we put all those links and such on our social media. Right now, but we do have like hoodies and T-shirts for sale. So if anybody is interested in something like that, we sell T-shirts for $20, hoodies for 30, and we ship them anywhere for $5. So
They're so cool.
Feel free to shoot us a message, and we'll see if we have your size, and if you're interested, we'll send it over to you. But yeah, in terms of shout outs, so I will say, definitely the Wolves Den out of O'Fallon, Missouri. That's our head gym. Our head coach, JP Mattis. Lily's, head BJJ coach. They call him Mop, but Andrew Ebers. And then, we do have some sponsors. I think those are always important to recognize and acknowledge. They're, our biggest supporters. We have Storytime Photography out of Lincoln, Illinois. That's she's been our main sponsor and supporter since the beginning. Who else you want to shout out?
HKA is our sponsor gear. If you guys watch our training videos, we always have really cool gloves, and they always have cool designs on them. We got some shorts and stuff custom for them. HKA, if you guys are athletes listening and you want some cool gear, great quality, great price, definitely let me know.
Yeah. We've got Gut Uppercut.
Yeah, that's our nutritionist.
That's our nutritionist and our weight cut specialist. She's the woman with the plan. She knows everything. And then I guess just some side, sponsors that we have. J&A Concrete. We got SNS Flooring and Promo Medics Printing.
So if anybody listening is interested, certainly they could reach out via social media. I will make sure I will put any links or anything that you want me to include with this topic. I'm going to get that in there. So one last question.
Yeah.
So at some point in time, there's going to be a young boy or girl, or maybe not so young, maybe an adult that's thinking about fighting, but they don't have the confidence to step up and make that leap. What would be your parting words of encouragement for anybody that watches you fighters and wants to do it themselves, but maybe they just need that extra push?
I think I would say, if you're thinking about fighting, or it's something that you feel passionate about, but you're just kind of scared, just show up. You don't have to fight day one, just show up, and give it a try. There's nothing wrong with trying something and finding out you don't like it. That'd be a lot better than thinking that you'd love something but never trying.
I would definitely say that, obviously if you're in a boxing gym, your coach is going to tell you whether you're ready or not. If it's fear that's holding you back, fear can be crazy. It really can be. And if fear is the only thing that's holding you back, fear is just placing limits on you. Like Liz said, there's nothing wrong with trying something and not liking it. So would you rather have tried it and not liked it, or, always regret not trying it? I struggle with fear every time I step in the ring. I have a lot of fight fears, and just gotta look it straight in the face and go for it. Train hard, prepare like your coach tells you to, and look fear right in the eyes and step in the ring.
Fear is definitely a bully, and most bullies, when you stand up to them and you come face to face, they back down. At least that's how I've looked at fear in my life. Anything that scares me, I try to get out there and do, just to prove that I'm not going to be intimidated by my own mental game. I just want to say thank you. Your stories are inspirational. They're motivational. Everything that you guys have had to go through, the changes you've had to make in your life, the level of competition that you've been courageous enough to step in and fight with. I just think this is you guys have a really great story to share. I would hope you guys would write a book one of these days because I think you would have an amazing book. And I just appreciate it. So, what I want to ask you is after Nashville and Russia, could I get you back on the show to talk a little more?
Oh hell yeah! Heck yeah! We would be super excited. We're super honored to be here with you today, and we're glad that you contacted us. I was super excited to do it. It was fun. Yes, we'll definitely be back.
All right, you heard it here. They're going to be back. Well, thank you so much. I want to let you guys. This is your day off, so I want to make sure you guys go and have a fun Saturday.
Thank
Um,
you.
we will talk again soon.
All right. Bye,
Sounds
Brian.
good. Thank you.